to something kind of interesting. Our good friends at ACR Artex can't be here with international bases, so forth and so on. It's obviously difficult for them to travel. So the next interview was actually done several days ago with their James Turner. Now, James is an interesting guy. You can tell by the deep Southern accent, which actually is kind of Scottish, that he's a really interesting gentleman to speak to. Did a great job talking about safety systems that most people tend to ignore, whether it be ELTs, EPIRBs, and the like, personal locators, things of that nature. And we had a dynamite 15-minute chat on a number of safety functions and safety products that aviation needs to pay better attention to if in fact we ever get into one of those situations that we all fear. No, it can't happen to us because it always happens to the other guy. And so I'm excited to introduce James Turner from ACR Artex, and a truly intriguing discussion, one of my best interviews of the last couple of months. And we'll take it away and we'll see you in about 20 minutes. For the Aero-News Network, here at the Hilton Anatole, the AEA 2021 Convention and Trade Show. We'll take a break, see you in a few. James Hunter, ACR Artex, welcome to AEA 2021. We're so glad to have you, even though we're having to do that remote thing that's been so popular over the last year or so.
Well, it's great to be here, especially from my remote office here. I appreciate the time to spend some time with you today and review some of our products.
Well, first of all, for those of the folks who aren't fully conversant with ACR Artex, let's do the 60-second primer on all things ACR Artex. Who are you, what do you do, and why are you guys taking over the world?
So ACR Electronics is primarily a rescue beacon brand. We make rescue beacons for aviation, outdoor marine, which includes our personal locator beacons, and our EPIRBs, which is primarily used on boats. We have several other products, but rescue beacons is our primary brand. Our company is split into two, with our outdoor marine side and myself on the aviation side.
Well, you guys have done some amazing things technologically in the aviation space. And let's face it, the rescue game, or actually anything safety related in aviation, for some reason or another, becomes a horribly hard sell because nobody thinks of themselves needing all this stuff. And for those of us who've spent some time helping with CAP, or for that matter, have done ferry flights where you get out of sight of land and all of a sudden your engine goes into automatic rough, even though everything looks fine, you know, so forth and so on. That's about the time when you sit there and go, okay, have I done everything I can to cover my butt in case everything goes bad? And you're the guys everybody should know in regards to that kind of technology and those kind of safety systems. What's currently available for aviation? Let's run down that first.
So let me just touch on the safety aspect for a minute there. So our aviation is inherently safe, but it's that one time that you need something that we provide. What we do, we actually have a survivors club, where if someone actually uses our product in an accident, if they give us their story, we will replace that, the ELT, PLB, or EPIRB that was used. Mm-hmm. The great news is there's not many aviation stories in there. Mm-hmm. We have lots of survivor stories from people who have used PLBs, who have been in the backcountry, hiking, out of range of cell phone, broke a leg, various things. So the PLBs are great insurance for those people. As I say, ELTs, you know, it's something that required on 99.9% of aircraft flying today. They provide that extra level of safety and security if something does go wrong. So what I'd like to start with today, I'd start on the GA market. Okay. I have a little bit of show and tell here today.
Oh, good.
So this is our ELT 345, incredibly popular. We're selling hundreds a month. It's been in the market for about 5 years now. It's, as I say, it's a GA model. It comes in mostly, it has one basically with a whip antenna. Mm-hmm. It has a 6-year battery life. We did start with a one size fits all kit. That actually had, if I can get this on the screen, this is how big this is, a 24-inch antenna. Mm-hmm. And we found over time through various shows, Oshkosh, etc., lots of people wanted a smaller antenna, which they had to step up to a different model ELT, more expensive ELT, of course, in aviation. Smaller, cost more. So we introduced mid 2020, we introduced 2 new kits to the ELT345 model line. One of them, so that we still have the base kit. The other two models now have a 14-inch antenna, which is very popular. So we have ELT345 that comes in a kit with the 14-inch antenna, and another kit which comes with a 14-inch antenna. And we've introduced a Slimline Switch. Let me see if I can get that to the camera.
Oh yeah, very much so.
And the Slimline Switch can be installed either vertically or horizontally. We supply it with labels for both vertical installation and for horizontal installation. This is primarily aimed at replacing older models of ELT that don't use the standard switch. This is our standard switch, which, as you can see, is rectangle. Mm-hmm. So this is becoming very popular. It saves you from cutting a different size hole in your panel. So that was the introduction of the Slimline Switch.
Excellent.
So that's a big seller this year. Really picking up steam, especially with the 15-inch antenna.
Outstanding. Okay.
So that information is on our website. If you can go and look at the models, we have a little chart there that shows you exactly what you're getting based on the kit part number.
Alrighty.
The next one I want to talk about, again, another very successful model is our ELT 4000. This might be familiar to some viewers. It's the same shape as our old C406 and B406 ELT, just a different color. What is unique about ELT 4000, which comes in fixed wing and helicopter model versions, is that this has an alkaline battery pack. Okay. So going back to 2013, when the incident with the Ethiopian Airlines aircraft and a competitor's ELT had a bit of a lithium battery problem, we've saw more stringent regulations coming out, and a lot of ELTs out there now don't actually meet those new requirements. They're still valid for installation on existing platforms, but they're not able to meet new requirements for new platforms. And ELT 4000, as I say, it's been very popular. It's been picked up by all the major business jet certifications over the last few years, and helicopter installations. We're selling this to Bell, Airbus Helicopter. It's going to Bombardier, Gulfstream, very popular. We're now seeing it get picked up a lot for aftermarket installs. Again, it's popular with because it meets the new TSO C126B requirements. Okay. It comes with multiple kits, ranging from it comes with a whip antenna, back to the old whip antenna too. Comes with a kit for that. Rod antennas and blade antennas, so it can go across the whole fleet. What we see right now in the GA marketplace, there's no pressure on lithium batteries at the moment in ELTs. But certainly in the commercial realm, the ELT 4000 is very popular.
Excellent. All right.
Next, I want to talk about, as I mentioned earlier, is our PLBs. We introduced a new PLB view going back maybe 1 or 2 years ago. We have two versions. We have the PLB 400 and the PLB view. The view has an LED screen. I'll see if I can demonstrate it, do a self-test. Oh, okay. So this gives you an LED screen that shows you exactly what's going on. So it's a very, very great improvement to the brand. It has an antenna that will unwind. Okay. Oh, boy. Simple, straightforward. And this model is buoyant. Both models are buoyant. Okay. The previous Rescue Link, we had a buoyant and a non-buoyant, but now both models in the Rescue Link, the new models, are both buoyant.
I assume by buoyant, that would also mean waterproof to a certain extent.
Yes, it's waterproof. You can't go down too deep, as the water pressure will switch it on. Yeah. So when you come out the water, you're activating. Okay. So yes, it's waterproof. It comes with various methods to clip it onto your belt or your vest. So that's very popular. That's the ACR PLB 400 or the PLB View. A Rescue Link 400 and Rescue Link View. On the Artex side, we have this is our smallest PLB. Wow. By comparison, we can show this is very popular with the pilot community due to its size. This is a 7-year battery in it, so it's plenty of life. And the antenna in this one, let me see if I can show it properly, pulls out.
Oh, there you go.
That's the antenna when it just winds back in.
Wow.
So again, this does not float on its own, but it comes with a buoyancy pouch if you need to have any water. But it's great for flying. It's a second level of protection if you're flying.
Okay.
So that's our products.
Let me ask a couple of questions about the PLBs, because an ELT, of course, for the aircraft is one thing.
Yeah.
For somebody who got stuck out in the boonies for a day and a half doing an engine problem, but thankfully was able to put out in a little road and way back boonies south of Wyoming border in northern Colorado. It was one thing to stay with the airplane and switch on the ELT. It was another where you knew there had to be some kind of population about 10 or 15 miles down the road based on what you saw. So the PLB gives you the ability to let people know, in addition to the ELT, that yes, you're down, but this is where you are if you're going to get aid. If you have somebody injured, if you think you see something populated in the distance, but it gives you the option of leaving
Right.
where your airplane is.
So yeah,
kind of like that idea.
So an ELT by its design has a built-in G switch.
Mm-hmm.
So the intention of an ELT is to locate the scene of an accident. So if an aircraft goes down, the impact should trigger the ELT and the G switch in the ELT, and it should activate. So that should give the search and rescue a location of the aircraft. So PLBs, on the other hand, are manually activated. They have to be switched on. It's a two-step process, so there's no false triggering. You have to open and then switch on your two-step. And this has a built-in GPS as well, so you can send GPS coordinates, so you can leave. So this is, as I say, PLBs, or personal locator beacons, for survivors. That's the subtle difference between ELTs and PLBs. Okay. Similar with EPIRBs. EPIRBs are generally water activated, and they give a location of the boat.
Okay. That's
a major difference between the different models.
Let's talk about the strides you're making in the airline game. You guys are in the process of taking over there. Talk to me about that.
So yes, so just on the horizon right now, we have a ELT 4000S, which is a survival ELT, which is a commercial aircraft requirement. It's based on the ELT 4000 alkaline battery pack. Right now, we have COSPAS SARSAT type approval, and we're just finalizing our TSO approval from the FAA. We expect we'll be shipping in September. So that we expect that to be a very popular product on the commercial aircraft. Lots of changes in that space right now. So we see a market opening for the Alkaline 4000S, survival ELT. And again, survival ELTs go in the cabin and are intended for survivors. So the idea is that if the aircraft goes down, they can take the survival ELT off the aircraft. It can be activated manually, or it can be activated by water. So if it's a ditching, the ELT, survival ELT is deployed in the water, it will activate. Little bit further down the road, right now, we're working on ELT DT, which is a distress tracking ELT. So traditional ELTs activate after an impact, not before. They can be switched on by a pilot, but traditionally the ELT will activate on impact. So after the disappearance of primarily MH370, yes. So there was a lot of debate about tracking aircraft. And so the decision was made to bring out new requirements about distress tracking as part of the GADS system. Mm-hmm. So the GADS system is a set of operational requirements, not equipment requirements. So there's different ways to meet the requirements. But what we feel is the best method to meet those requirements is to use an ELT DT. So we're basically taking an ELT infrastructure, and we're including some additional software, some additional monitoring, so that it's actually listening to the aircraft. The ELT DT is combined with distress trigger, so that the distress trigger will do the actual aircraft monitoring, and if it sees something it doesn't like, descent rates or increased speed or something, it can send a signal to the ELT DT, which then can start transmitting prior to the end of the flight. So that's the change. So that's coming to commercial aviation aircraft, and around right now it's Jan 1, 2023. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're aiming for. We're working with several OEMs to integrate it into the platforms. Long lead times on these products, so we're working with them now.
Yes, I know some of the names that you're working with. You're covering some really big companies in that regard.
Yeah, so I mean, commercial operated OEMs. So that's really who's impacting this. You know, the 777s of the world that are flying over water. Those are the aircraft that will be equipped first. It looks like the European regulations are going to actually require, on like most aircraft, even domestic, you know, a 737 from Berlin to Paris is going to be required to have a DT at this point in time.
Fascinating. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys are prepared to meet all those requirements faster than most. Outstanding.
Yeah. So we're, as I say, we're working with several of the large OEMs right now. Just a matter of time just to integrate into their systems. Outstanding.
Well, James, I got to tell you, you did a bang-up job in synopsizing what is really an amazing company. We've had a chance to work with your people quite a bit over the last couple of years, and the more we dive in, the more interesting it gets, because these are technologies and concepts that tend to escape immediate attention because that's never going to happen to me. Right. And most of the time it doesn't. But it's, as we like to say, it's your last. Your word
chance.
To God, my friend. Your word to God.
Yeah. So we're a very dedicated company. We believe in what we do, and you know, everyone that works at ACR understands that the products they do can save lives. So we're quite proud of that.
That must be immensely gratifying.
Yes, and we, as I mentioned, the Survivors Club. So we do have people that have survived come and visit and meet the employees, and it's very touching moments. Very touching.
That must be a party.
Yes.
Well, James Hunter of ACR Artex and just an amazing group of technologies. We appreciate you meeting with us for AEA 2021. For 22, we hope to get to meet you in person out there and see the rest of the gang. And God, we'll be back next year. Going on, the last year is way behind us.
Yes, I mean the one good thing that's been happening is a lot more people flying these days, so it's been good for one thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, once again, thank you for joining us on Airborne Aero-TV and our Airborne AEA Live programming.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the opportunity.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 64th Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from Dallas, Texas, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors.